streets are talking. You are now listening to The Box Out, Tri-State area basketball talk at its best. And now your hosts, Kahlil Thomas and Jason Cordner. Let's get it.
From NJ2BK and the world's The Box Out here on the One Podcast Network. My name is Kahlil Thomas. Joining me in just a few minutes will be Jason Cordner from Brooklyn, New York. A lot to talk about, a lot to get into tonight. But first, let's start with the team that's behind me. This way, that way, here, that way, somewhere. The Knicks. So we previewed the series game 6 last week. We talked about on Sunday this series going against the Pacers and what the Knicks needed to do against the Pacers to slow them down and to, either make this series quick or make this series very, very painful for themselves. One of the things we said was slow Pacers down. They like to run. Don't let them run. There's a few things that we talked about. And we saw in the first 2 games of the series that the Pacers ran. Whenever they got the ball, and I felt like I was watching the Phoenix Suns with D'Antoni and Amari and Steve Nash and Sean Marion, they were just running and just running and running. And the Knicks, in game 1 more so, they looked very overmatched in game 1 with the high-octane offense that the Pacers was running. And in game 1, we saw Jalen Brunson come to life in the second half. Dante DiVincenzo hit some threes. Josh Hart played 48 minutes. Knicks pull out game 1. Good. Game 2, last night, Wednesday night, if you listen to this after our live broadcast, was a little scarier. And here's why. It was announced the day before that Mitchell Robinson is out for the remainder of the playoffs. That bum ankle that he's kind of been playing on, and that Joel Embiid re-injured. I'm going to put that out there. Joel Embiid, forget him. I'm going to say something else, but I'm not going to. He's out for the rest of the playoffs. So automatically, we're down a big guy. Cool. Precious Achiuwa, calm down. It's your time to burn. Maybe a little Jericho Sim action, even though I think he's just as bad as everybody else. Whatever. Brunson, our star, the guy that the engine of the New York Knicks, decides to get hurt. Phantom. I thought he hurt his balls. Steve Popper of Newsday on Twitter said it was a hand. Turned out to be a foot. I don't know what the hell. So Brunson's out. Brunson makes a miraculous comeback. And then OG gets hurt with a hamstring. So it was the walking wounded in game 2 as I bring in Jason Cordner from Brooklyn, New York. Jay, what's going on, man?
Not much. I guess we're going to call that the Brunson Reed game last night.
I'm trying to figure out. So if you looked at the replay, I didn't talk about us winning the game. I'm kind of going through the events that happened. I looked at the replay. I'm like, how did he get hurt? Was it just one of the phantom things that happened or whatever?
Because it looked like he got a shot in the groin, but it wasn't the groin. Then it wasn't the hand. And then somehow they came up with the conclusion it was his foot. It's very phantom play, but kudos to him coming back.
Yeah, Popper from Newsday said, "Oh, it's the hand," but then you watch the video, he was grabbing the shit, and I'm like, "All right, so did he get nut shot it?" Like it was all this. You didn't know what was going on, and said, "Oh, it's his foot." I'm like, "Okay, I'm confused." Brunson comes back. OG goes out. So now we're down OG. Pressure's getting a lot of playing time now. That fourth quarter again. And, I talk a lot about, and I know you've kind of taught me down off of this a lot in the last, couple years, how Tibbs just runs guys into the ground. And the amount of playing time. And when he finds a rotation he likes, he sticks to that rotation no matter what. I think Stan Van Gundy said it. The Knicks might be one of the most well-conditioned teams in the NBA. Because that fourth quarter, when the other team is huffing and puffing, we saw it against the Sixers, the Knicks are the Knicks start running and the Knicks start moving quicker, and the defense kind of tightens up, and the ball movement actually gets a little better in the fourth quarter when it really should get worse when you're playing 48 minutes. Knicks
It's
found a way
funny.
to win
It's
games.
funny. It's funny you mentioned the conditioning. You know what I think back to? I think back to the time me and you went to that Knicks game, and we went to that event before where the what's his name was hosting. I forgot his name. He was not with the Knicks anymore. And he kind of mentioned the conditioning and what they were looking for. So the building blocks was there, and back then the building blocks that was set up for now was laid in place. I forgot his name. Damn, Perry. Was it Perry? Scott Perry.
Scott Perry. Yeah.
And he talked and he talked about that whole conditioning and what they were looking for in an athlete on the Knicks, and it's looked like it's paying into fruition now. But you're right; those guys were, as much minutes they played, they're the ones being more active on the boards, lose rebounds, everything. They were just so aggressive, and the style of Indiana. I thought the Knicks were in trouble in this series. I don't think that way anymore. I think you can go into Game 3. I'm not saying go in wholeheartedly, but I can see them losing Game 3, kind of like the Philly series, hammering down in Game 4. But I think the Pacers' style of play is not matching well against the Knicks because they're getting punked, they're getting out hustled, they're getting out rebound, they just out toughness. You got their coach complaining about 78 calls. Then he mentioned small market. I mean, they're grasping for straws right now. So the Knicks got them right where they want it. Even the walking wounded as they are, they still got them where they want.
Well, it's funny you say that too, because like you said, the Pacers sent 75 plays to the NBA.
78
between both games of questionable calls. Now, in sports, refs, umps, I don't care who you are, you're going to miss calls. A lot of these calls are bang bang. They review them. It happens. The kickball in Game 1, that was not a kickball, but kickballs are not reviewable. That's just the rule. So they messed up that. It was a bang bang play is what it is. The pick, it came out after Game 1 that pick that Turner got called on was an actual illegal pick. So they got that right. So it seems as if Indiana's upset they're not getting the calls, blaming it on the Knicks, and the NBA is a conspiracy now because the NBA wants New York to win because of the big market, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, and this is where they messed up last night. You had a defender in TJ McConnell who was doing work on Brunson. Now, Brunson was still kind of getting what he was getting.
Right.
But McConnell definitely made it harder for him to get what he wanted to get. And for some reason, Rick Carlisle didn't put him back in the game for those last 7 minutes and instead put Nesmith on him. And we saw what happened. The Knicks got better and better. Nesmith just could not compete with Jalen Brunson and DiVincenzo. There's a few times that Nesmith, I think, got switched up on DiVincenzo, and DiVincenzo hit 2 threes. So I think you got to look at strategy, not so much the refs, and go, okay, something was working for you. Wasn't working completely, but it was working, and you went away from it, and now you lost the game. So you can't blame the refs for everything you did wrong.
Everything. Yeah. I mean, even that double dribble, that phantom double dribble, they're upset that the refs was going to give them a fluke play, but then they actually did their job collaborating. It was like, hey, that wasn't a double dribble. So you're mad that you didn't get a break.
That's what it is. They're like, oh, well, we didn't get that call. Like, should you get every call? Is that like just because you're Indiana, you should get every single call? Is that what we're talking about right now? Like, yeah, get that. I do have to talk about Jalen Brunson's injury. It is a foot injury. I don't see any way he doesn't play tomorrow night.
He's playing. He's playing.
If he can walk, he'll play. I think OG's injury is a little more because it's a hamstring, and hamstrings can be tricky. Hamstrings could be, they can get tight, and he might need a night off. It could be bad. It could get worse, and they may not want to play him. If you were Tibbs, the coaching staff, the training staff, how would you treat OG in that hamstring?
I think you treat him like I personally wouldn't play him until Game 5. I'll let him get the weekend to recoup just to see where he's at, because I don't think if he wasn't hustling that hard for that play, I don't think he would have aggravated it that much later on in the game. So I think it's one of those things where let him rest, let him cool off. I think they'll be fine in Indiana without him, because now you give freshmen more minutes. And if you even want to go deeper down the bench, maybe pull up a Sims or somebody else and insert them in that role. Because I feel like their bigs, regardless, are just more intimidating and they're more dominant than the Pacers bigs anyway. So I think with OG out, they'll be okay.
We're talking about Hartenstein, 14 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists last night in game 2.
He's almost a walking triple-double.
And Precious, 8 points, 5 rebounds. Precious does what he does, right?
Yeah.
He's not going to put up big points. He's just a big body. He's going to muscle you down. So I feel like in the playoffs, you need more players like that. You want players who are like, listen, I don't need you to score. I just need you to bang down low and just make other people uncomfortable.
Especially if Miles Turner continues to want to shoot threes. He's not even going to bang in the paint with you, so you have the paint all to yourself.
Yeah, I don't understand Miles Turner and his game at all. We did have an Alec Burks sighting for 44 seconds. The one shot he put up, he missed, which says a lot. If OG doesn't play, I'm assuming you'll probably see Burks more than 44 seconds.
You have to.
Are you like, put him in, see what he's got? Or does it kind of give you pause like, should we go to Shake Milton? See what Shake Milton got left in the tank?
Now I think we go to Burke, see what he got. You know, if he gives you a good 15 minutes, I won't say 20. No one tips he's not going to play in 20. But if he gives you solid 15, especially if we find some time to rest, because I think you can't run Brunson into the ground for 45 minutes of the game. I think you got to buy him 10 minutes of time. So this is where you insert Burke in to alleviate some of that playing time for Brunson.
So game 3 tomorrow night in Indiana. I really think the Pacers will probably win tomorrow night. First game.
I think so too. Yeah.
And I think game 4 Sunday, Monday, which should be rough because I'm like, damn, Mother's Day. What do I do with that? Like,
I'm watching the game. I'm watching the game at my mom's house.
That's multitasking. That's what I'm talking about. Good man. So game 3 tomorrow night. The other series I'm talking about is the Nuggets Wolves. The Wolves up 2-0 in that series. And what are your thoughts on that series? Because it seems like Denver just looks outmatched, and they look like they got punched in the face, and they were not expected to get punched in the face.
I think game 1 they got punched in the face. Game 2 they got slapped up for like Debo style, like where's my money? I think they just outmanned. I think Murray's a little more hurt than he's leading on. Jokic, he's gonna do his thing, but this is where you miss the guys you had on the bench last year to help you get a title. And we kind of saw that their basketball IQ got them through the Lakers series where they were just better in crunch time. I think the Wolves are hungry. I think the Wolves. It's starting to make sense why they didn't want to sell to A-Rod. Maybe they knew something. Maybe the ownership knew something here. He was like, you know what? Hold on. I'm not going to give A-Rod this Porsche right now. I think we can squeeze a championship out of them. But they're just clicking on all cylinders. They won game 2 without Rudy Gobert, the defensive player of the year again.
Is that really a big thing though? Like, it's like, oh, Rudy's not here. All right.
But I mean, cool. It cleared up the lane. It cleared up the lane for the guys to do their thing. But do I think Denver's out of it? No. But do I think it's going to be hard for them to win twice in Minnesota? Absolutely. So I hate to see it, man. I think the West we're seeing a shifting of the guard where these young teams are here to stay. Denver, I won't say I think they're in the middle of the pack in terms of youth, where it's more of a veteran team with Jokic being the younger guy. But I think we're starting to see this youth movement, especially with OKC, Minnesota. I would add a healthy Memphis when they're back, and maybe Sacramento. But I definitely think the Timberwolves are right for the picking. Ant looks like a young Jordan, and as long as Karl-Anthony Towns not jacking up threes and he's bodying them in the post, giving Jokic all he can handle, I think they're in full control of the series. And I think it would not surprise me if we're going back to Denver in game 5, 3-1.
Well, we set up the game 1. You kind of we talk about Jordan. With Jordan, you kind of let him do him, right? Jordan's going to get his no matter what. The idea of the Bulls was you got to shut Pippen down. You can't let Horace Grant, get his little mid-range jumper in. Keep eyes on Paxson or Kerr or BJ Armstrong. Let Jordan do him. Shut everybody else down. In game 2, Anthony Edwards at 27. And then Cat had 27. I'm like, well, they didn't follow that. Didn't follow that theory at all. So, oh wait, John in the chat says can't count out the champs. Let's stay tuned. I agree. I think not only do they have to win game 2, they have to win game 3. They have to win it with a statement. Like, I'm not saying win by 30.
I don't see it in them. I don't see the fight in them.
So you think this is done? You think not a sweep, but you like the shot?
I think they'll find a way to win 2 games. They won't get swept, and it won't be a gentleman's sweep. But to beat them, what's it, game 3? So they would have to win 4 out of the next 5. I don't see it.
Yeah,
if it was 1-1, I would give them a better shot. But it's 0-2 going back into Minnesota's house. There's no way they win those 2 games. Maybe they win 1, and then maybe they win game 5. But I think this close out in 6.
I think they win game 3 and they win it convincingly, not like last second, not by 2 or 3. They beat them by 12 or 13 points. I feel like that puts Minnesota in a spot where they're thinking like, wait, okay, are we as good as we thought we were after game 2? You have to beat them substantially in game 3 to put that doubt. It's still a young team. It's still a team that hasn't won anything yet. So you got to put that doubt in their head and be like, are we as good as we think we are? That's why I think game 3 is so important for a statement. Not so much to win, but they have to make a statement win and go, we're not done yet. If they can't do that, if they win by 2, that's not saying anything. The Wolves okay, they just got lucky at that. But the Nuggets have to go out there and go, okay, let's blow them out and just mess with them. Jokic is going to have a big game tomorrow. It depends on Porter. It depends on Murray. It depends on everybody else. It depends on Gordon. They have to back up Jokic tomorrow.
But it goes back to what we said about the Knicks too. Like, their style of play has been they've been consistent since game 1 of the Philly series. The Nuggets have been kind of consistent. They've been who they are the entire Lakers series. They didn't blow out the Lakers. They took a miracle shot to win 1 game. They were close within, I think, all the games were within a couple of points. So it wasn't a blowout against the the hobbly Lakers. So I think we've seen the body work. I don't know if they could turn it on against this young team. I don't see it.
Bruce, what's going on, Bruce? Thanks for watching as always. The Wolves must win game 3. All right, listen.
I think so too. I think it's a must win for both. Must win for both.
Yeah, I think, but must win for the Wolves just to say, we got you. Must win plus some added stank to that win. They put some stank on that win, does Denver, to really put the fear of God in them for game
100%.
4. The other 2 series, I hate to say this, I really don't care.
They're over. They're over.
Like, I think OKC is going to win that series 4-1 against Dallas. I think the Celtics might actually sweep the Cavs. So I just don't give a shit about that series.
I give Donovan Mitchell 1 game. I give him game 3.
1 game just to calm down the complaining for 1 day.
Yeah.
And go, all right, I'll stay. I'm happy. And then they get blown out. No, okay, I want to leave now. That's not what it is. The Thunder, I thought this round would be the round where we would see like the youth, the inexperience, the I've never been here before kind of factor kick it in. You have Doncic, you have Kyrie who has a ring, right? So you have guys who have some playoff experience. You have a guy with a championship ring in a team, and it seems like OKC is just not fazed by the moment. It seems like they're just like, we're the number 1 seed in the West, we're the best team in the Western Conference, we're gonna play like it, and we're gonna ball. Forget the youth, forget us never being here before. We're gonna show the league that you've all been waiting for us. We're here now.
We're here now. Yep.
So I think they're just like, listen, bring it. We're ready for you. So
100%.
I think 5, right? 5 games.
You giving Luka and Kyrie 1 game? I think they get 2. I think it could be done to 6.
I'm giving them 1. I'm giving 1 in Dallas. I'll give them game 4 in Dallas. Then I get swept.
Okay.
And they'll finish it off in OKC. The Boston series, it is what it is. Like it's Boston. But here's my question now. Boston blew out Cleveland, obviously, and I think that's going to be the theme of the series. Is Boston as good based on game 1, or is it just like they're playing Cleveland, who just had a 7-game series?
I think they caught some luck in their bracket stacking of the playoffs. They caught the lighter side. They caught a wounded Miami team without their best player, in Butler. And I think with the Cavs, without Allen being compromised, they're already thin in the paint. Their superior wings are better than the Cavs. So I think it's a bad matchup. I think the Cavs have done 5. So that means they'll win the first 2 series in 5 games.
Yeah, which is good for them. I want to talk about Phoenix firing Frank Vogel. We talked the other night. We talked about how the Lakers made Darvin Ham the scapegoat of their shit season.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Suns have made Frank Vogel their scapegoat for their shit season. They fired Frank Vogel, who literally was given a team of 3 superstars who can't work together and doesn't work, didn't make any sense, and said, "Here." Oh, and by the way,
I think he took the job when there was 9 players on the roster. He didn't even take it when it was a complete team yet.
No, it's like here's 3 pieces of good meat that don't work well together. When you eat them together, oh, I got some Spam, I got some spiced ham, I got some liverwurst, and I got some other meat that we don't know what it is yet. So combine them with the 3 pieces of meat that don't really work. That's what Vogel was given essentially, and you saw what happened. They got swept. How much of the Phoenix thing was because Vogel got scapegoated in LA too? So Vogel got fired from 2 jobs that wasn't his fault. But in Phoenix, how much was this his fault, or how much was this 1, expectations, and 2, we talk about Brooklyn, just the makeup of the team?
I think it was a combination of the GM and the players hung him out to dry to be the scapegoat. I also kind of blame him too because he went into the situation acting like he forgot what happened to him in LA, and it was a similar situation where it was a veteran roster of egos that think they're still superstars. And I think he walked into this bumps in his own fault as well because he should have seen the writing on the wall in the middle of the season. This is probably why Kenny Atkins doesn't want to take another job. He is cool being on the assistant coach for the Warriors. I think, and then what's mind-boggling to me is not only did you fire him, his replacement just is a guy that got fired out of Milwaukee last year. So we're just recycling coaches thinking that they're going to strike gold and make miracles happen with a thin, incomplete roster.
So what Jason's talking about, the reports are that Mike Budenholzer is close to accepting the job with Phoenix. So NBA champion head coach, I had to put that out there because we had him fired the year they won a championship. I think we both were like, he's done.
Yeah, listen, if KD's toe was a little bit smaller, he was done after that series.
So that's the rumor. Budenholzer's going to go to Phoenix. I do want to talk about the Laker job because did JJ Redick get the job, or was that just the speculative story?
I think it's a speculative story. I don't think he'd want that job because that's not the job. I know the Hornets job has been taken up by the Boston's assistant head coach. Mm-hmm. That would have been a job. I think if he's serious about getting into the coaching lane, he needs to take a job like that. I wouldn't take the Laker job because it's just too much mess over there.
Well, and I think the Lakers, you look at the Suns job, the Suns job could be a good job for 2 years because you got those guys kind of wrapped up. You got Durant, you got Beal, and you have Booker for a couple of years.
Right.
After those 2 years, when we hit, 26, 27, 27, 28, that's when the job becomes a shit show because they really don't have a lot of draft picks. So when the time comes where you have to rebuild and figure out, okay, we got to start from scratch, you don't have a lot to work with when you're talking about starting from scratch, meaning you're going to have to move, and it can't be Beal because he has a no trade clause. You're going to have to move a Durant and or a Booker to get some assets back to make that rebuild kind of pick up. So once you do that, okay, you're going full rebuild. By that point, Budenholzer probably won't be there. So this could be a fun job. This is a playoff team. Like, no matter what, this is a playoff team. I think championship team, no, not even close. I think, and they can't do nothing. They can't do anything to make themselves better because they're so far in the tank with salary. They're stuck. They're screwed. So if you're Budenholzer, why are you taking this job? what's the benefit for taking a job like this?
It's the money grab. Like you said, he is a NBA champion coach. So go get that money. Go get that money in the desert. The rent, don't buy.
And don't buy a house. You saw what happened with the Coyotes. Don't buy a house in Arizona right now. Like you're gonna be moving out somewhere. The Laker job, same thing. No matter who gets the Laker job, you're gonna have a good job for about a year. LeBron's gonna pick up that option. He's gonna stay 1 more year, and then you got to figure out, okay, what do we do with AD? Russell will probably still be there because nobody wants to.
No one's going to touch him.
No. So you're going to go into a rebuild again, and you become the second team. By the way, do you see the trailer for the Clippers movie on Hulu?
Yes, I can't wait.
Lawrence Fishburne looks just like Doc Rivers. It's crazy.
Which it never dawned on me till I saw that trailer. I was like, holy shit, he does look like Doc Rivers here.
I'm like, oh, Lawrence, is that Al Bundy? He's playing.
And why we got Al Bundy playing Donald Sterling? That I don't like. I don't like that.
Why is Ed O'Neill playing Donald Sterling? I was like, oh shit, that's kind of cool. I'm like, okay. I'm looking forward to that. There's also something about the 1990 Yankees that's coming on Peacock that I'm a Met fan, but you grew up in a house in New York, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. You got MSG for free, but you had to pay for Sports Channel.
Weird.
So I watched a lot of Yankee games because it's on MSG for free, but Sports Channel I had to watch through the damn Skookie lines. Like I used to watch Mets baseball like I watched my porn growing up on the Skookie lines. And apparently the 1990 Yankees were atrocious. I don't remember. I remember Mel Hall and Pascal Perez from the Yankee scene from the 90s, but apparently they were shitty on the field. Steinbrenner got banned. Literally banned.
People don't realize that if he didn't get banned, they would have never drafted Jeter. They would have never drafted the core four.
Because Gene Michael's general manager. He knew what the hell he was doing. So he's like, okay, go, just go away, George. I got this.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
So that's coming on Peacock too. So if you're looking for movie selections, you got the Clippers documentary, Clippers miniseries, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the Yankee documentary about the 1990 Yankees. Mel Hall currently serving 40 years in jail. Did not know that. That threw me off for a loop too. WNBA, their season starts on Tuesday. We're going to do a quick preview now. I watched the Liberty play the Sky. It was a preseason game on Tuesday.
Didn't look good.
They got smoked. I had to tell myself, okay, this is preseason. No one really played. I think Breonna Stewart played like 10 minutes. I think Ionescu played like 12. They were just kind of figuring out who's going to be at the end of the bench. That's what these games are for the Liberty right now.
Yeah.
Going forward, and I know you're going to be covering the Liberty this year as well. Like every year, Jason's our Liberty guy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see from this team? And could they not just repeat going to the finals, but could they actually finally get that championship that the Liberty has not gotten in their existence?
I hope so. I mean, I think they will compete. I think they will be a top 3 team in the conference in the league. I just think it's time to get the chemistry reps, get that squared away, figure out what your crunch time rotation is going to look like. Other than that, I think the talent alone will get them back to the finals. But it's going to be tough because I think these young teams, I think the Sky is going to come out the gate really good. We know the Aces is going to be there. I have high hopes on the Wings this year as well. I think the Wings are going to have a lot to say. I think Connecticut's a team that takes a step back. I don't think it's the Liberty. I think it's Connecticut, and I think who else is going to be good? I think Phoenix is kind of like rebuilding. But if you was to ask me, out of the usual suspects, I think the Suns are going to take the dive. I think the Liberty will be right there with the Aces. It would not surprise me if the Aces three-peat.
You talk about the crunch time lineup, and obviously it's going to be Ionescu, it's going to be Stewie, Jonquel Jones, probably that's your 3. You got to fill out those last 2 spots, and you would think it would be Benaja Laney Hamilton. You would think it would be Courtney Vandersloot. You would think it would be those 5 people, but you have Naira Sabali who came in, who could play. You can have her and Jones. You have a 6'5" and a 6'3", and you just have 2 guards. Right, you have Stewie, you have Sabali, you have Jones, and then you have Ionescu and Benaja Laney. I thought you kind of work with that, and you just go big tower lineup. Guard wise, you have Vandersloot and I know Bruce is probably like, oh God, Vandersloot. She's a little washed up. Like we saw it last year. The shot wasn't there. The shots weren't going in.
Yeah.
I think more point for her will probably be a good thing, but they really didn't address stat. We talked about this last week. They had no point guard. They didn't even think about getting a point guard to kind of either back up Vandersloot or replace her eventually. They should have drafted one in the draft. They really didn't. So I'm not sure they can get back to the finals. I think you can actually look at Chicago, even though Cardozo's out for 4 to 6 weeks, so that they're gonna be a little weak now. But a team like Chicago could make a run and upset them in, first round of playoffs because of the physicality. Talking about in the chat, John and Bruce. Liberty still lack that physicality. Besides Jonquel Jones, you have a really, really soft team. The Aces got that edge that the Liberty just don't have.
That's what the Liberty remind me of. They remind me of the Pacers.
God.
Explosive. I mean, they did get punked by the Aces. Very explosive offense, but they lack that physical. We said it last year. They lack that dog. I thought it was going to be, I don't know. I thought they would have picked up or addressed that this offseason. They didn't. But I think the chemistry will have to trump that, and we'll see what happens. But I think the Olympic break will help the old vets on that team.
Yeah, just give them some time. I also feel like, too, and I think I read somewhere, they compared the Liberty last year to when Miami got LeBron. It had got D Wade and got
right. So the year one, they got to the finals, but they got a little punked, but they'll be all right after that. I kind of see that too, but them vets are old, man. It's a young women's league.
Yeah, I mean, you see it now. You see, it's like there's so much press about who's not just Caitlin Clark, because obviously Caitlin Clark is a big name, but there's so many younger players coming in, and not just this draft, but last draft too.
And the next one.
And the next one. Yeah, I mean, you have Paige Beckers coming out next year. She's going to be the top of the draft list next year. So I feel like that old guard is starting to kind of fade out.
Early hot take. I think Phoenix is tanking this year to get her, but that's a whole nother story.
I mean, I can see Beckers coming in to replace Taurasi.
Oh, 100%.
Maybe. I don't want to push Diana Taurasi out yet, but I think we're getting to that point where she's getting close.
Speaking of Caitlin Clark, I mean, I knew the Liberty's opening was on the 18th. Had no idea it was a Saturday. I'm assuming this whole time that the home opener was a Sunday because that's when they normally play. The Liberty have the home game. So I'm surprised that it is a Saturday night. Really surprised about that.
I mean, listen, that's the best time to get more people. You leave Barclays, you find a bar somewhere around Barclays, you go chill, you hang out. I don't know what's around there. I don't really hang out in the Barclays. When I go there, I leave.
There's some good bars. There's definitely some good bars around Barclays.
But, I mean, I feel like you're going to see a lot more Saturday games. I really hope they do away with that damn 11 o'clock random-ass morning game that they have in, July. I get it's kids' day, but it's 11:30 damn morning. Nobody's watching.
Yep.
Cut that shit out. No one cares.
And you ain't serving breakfast in the press room either.
Nope. Although Barclays is serving really good food. We talk about this all the time. Barclays, best media spread in the tri-state area by far. Yep. Except St. Peter's with their pizza. St. Peter's always has good pizza from the pizzeria up the block. The Aces, obviously the favorite to win it all again. I don't see them not, like I said, they're going to three-peat. I don't see a team right now that can beat the Las Vegas Aces has constructed, even without Candace Parker. I don't see a team in the league really giving them any type of work.
Yeah, even without Candace, I think they still the dominant. I think this year they want to be in the rare air as Houston Comets. They want to be remembered as one of the better dynasties in the league, and I think they're on track to do that.
Yeah, the team I always talk about, I've been talking about them for a couple of years, and I feel like I've been waiting for them to figure it out. The Dallas Wings. I think the Dallas Wings, you talk about Connecticut kind of taking a drop off. I think this is the year Dallas finally jumps up. They got Natasha Howard, who 10-year vet who still got something in the tank. I think when the Liberty had Natasha Howard, she was year 7, year 8, and she was still putting in double-doubles. I think that was a huge addition. Satu Sabli's still there. Ngubawali's obviously still there. So you have a team now with Natasha Howard added that is very, very good. And Natasha Howard's actually, her jump shot's gotten a lot better where she can step out. So I think Dallas is that one team that's on the rise too. I want to talk about Indiana because obviously Caitlin Clark is there. Aaliyah Boston, who they drafted last year, she's there. You have a 1-2 now. You have an inside-outside game. How good can Indiana be right away with Caitlin Clark and with Aaliyah Boston playing alongside her? Because last year they went, I want to get this right, 13-27 last year.
I think they get 20 wins. I think they'll make an improvement. They'll probably make a run at the playoffs, but they definitely won't be at the bottom of the conference. I mean, of the league anymore. I think they'll be. I'll pencil them in for 20 wins because I think Caitlin will alleviate a lot of that offensive burden on that team. I think they'll be fine. They'll be. Next year, we're going to look at them as the wings, where they're going to start ascending. But right now, I think they're going to lay the foundation, winning culture.
Yeah. So, who said? I think. Yeah, Bruce said the Sky, and I thought Camila Cardozo. She's gonna be out 4 to 6 weeks because of I think a shoulder. Lindsay Allen, Shanae Carter, Diamond DeShields. I'm going through the roster. Angel Reese, obviously, Michaela Anuele, who was drafted by the Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
Head coach, what's the word? They got Spoon as their head coach. The Sky struggled last year. It's kind of that post-championship last couple of years. They're like, all right, we got to rebuild. Candace Parker left. We kind of got to reset everything. I think Angel Reese adds something, but I don't think she's going to be a huge factor like everyone thinks she is. I think Cardozo will be the big factor because I think Cardozo plays so hard and is such – she becomes, to me, a top 5 center in the league coming in year one, even with the injury. I think the way she plays works so well. And this team, we talked about the Liberty not having that dog. With Spoon as a head coach and who they got on this team, they got dogs on this team. I think this to be the one team that could really go, body for body with the Aces and go, you're not going to muscle us around because Cardozo will punch you in the face. As seen by LSU. she will hit you in the face. She don't care. So I think the Sky, that toughness is really going to be important for them going forward, not just this year, but for the future.
So do you think the Sky and the Fever both make the playoffs?
No, I think the Fever makes the playoffs before the Sky.
Okay.
I do think Cardozo missing that first few weeks is going to hurt them a lot.
Hurt them, okay.
I think when she comes back, they'll get it rolling, but I think they'll have a really rough start, and I think it might be hard for them to recover after that start. So
that makes sense.
I think Indiana makes the playoffs. The Sparks is a weird team because the Sparks pretty much said, we're going to start all over again. We're going to do it again. Yeah. Let's just break it down, burn it all down, and start over. So I think that's a team that not so much this year, not so much next year, but I think in 3 years, you might see the Sparks actually compete in the league. My question to you is, if you're a Sparks fan, season ticket holder, are you willing to wait the 3 years to be competitive? Or are you like, I need to see something now because we stunk last year. 17-23 is not bad, but they didn't play well at all last year.
I think you're willing to – I think, when you got championship pedigree and you have banners, you could wait and let it rebuild and build it back up. So I think the fan base would be fine with that. Kind of like, look at Chicago. They just won the championship a couple of years ago. They kind of stunk it up a little bit last year. But the fans are like, we're cool. We trust the process. We'll build it back up. So I think it seems like Connecticut, the Liberty, even maybe the Mystics, because, it's been a while since they won. It seems like that where you got to worry, like, hey, listen, we got to put a championship team out there or we might lose the fan base. I don't think the Sparks, they got nothing to worry about.
What's funny, too, about the Sparks roster? I'm looking at it right now. They have Clarendon, Nurse, and Talbot, who are all former Liberty players. Kia Nurse, who I forgot was
Kia Nurse.
Kia Nurse just floating around the league, just like. But she's on the team. Ari McDonald from Arizona for a couple years ago when they made the Final Four run. She's on that team. Danica Hamby, who was traded to the Sparks from the Aces after that whole thing. She was pregnant and allegedly she was kind of blackballed. She's on the team. They drafted Cameron Brink from Stanford. They have a pretty good team. It's a really weird mix of like not old, but like been in the league like 4 or 5 years. And then youth. It's a really good in between. Like, you don't have this really old squad with a bunch of young players in. You have like a young squad with a bunch of like rookies, first, second year players, and then you have like the key nurses who've been around for 5 or 6 years. So it's I'm curious to see this team this year and how good they're gonna be this year. I don't think it's gonna be 3 years. I think they could be good next year if they kind of hold it together. The other big news in WNBA, they're getting charter flights this year. Who knew? Finally. So all the flights will be charter. No more waiting on tarmacs for 18 hours for flights to get to and from.
Right. Finally.
How big is this move for the league? Because I feel like this being done says, okay, we're almost profitable. We can take this expense on because we're close.
You think it's because of that? I think it's because the eyeballs that are coming to the product, thanks to Caitlin and thanks to the young crop of females in there coming to the league now. I think the eyeballs and the optics is just making them do this. I think they are getting close to being profitable, absolutely. But I think it's the eyeballs and attention that piggybacking off of the NCAA tournament is why they're like, holy shit, we got to act like a classy, we got to act like a real organization now. So I think that's what it is.
We got to act like a real sporting league.
100%.
Like we give a shit about our players. Like we guys are
100%.
I think that's true too. I also feel like they have the money to do it now. I know they got that private equity money last year, and I feel like they were kind of sitting on it. Now they can kind of put it out there and spend it. Yep. We're gonna play a quick game. ESPN released the top 25 players in the WNBA, and we're gonna play a game and go from the top. Who do you think is the best player according to ESPN in the W right now?
I think it'd be very disrespectful if they didn't say Asia Wilson, if they didn't say her first.
Asia Wilson, correct. There you go. That's number one. Who's number two? That's the next question.
Stewie?
Stewie's three. Sorry, Stewie's two. Good.
Okay.
Here's where I'm torn because you're 3, 4, and 5. Alyssa Thomas from Connecticut, Jonquil Jones from the Liberty, Nafisa Collier from Minnesota. Chelsea Gray 6, Jackie Young 7, Kelsey Plum 8. Jewel Lloyd, who had like 30 points a game last year, is 9. And then 10 is Nneka Ogwumike. I feel like after 2, after Asia Wilson, after Stewie, I really feel like the list went sideways quick.
I don't think Plum is top 10. Top.
Oh, you don't?
I would have put her like 11, 12. But then again, now I'm thinking like I can't name a couple of players. Where's Sabrina on this list?
12.
I would have flipped them. There you go. That's why I said 12. I would have flipped them.
All right. Next question. Is Caitlin Clark on this list? Yes or no?
She's on the list.
She's not on the list.
That's because she has to step. That's because she has to play the
exactly. I think they're like, we can't put her on here.
Let's see, May 4th of July. If they had to redo the list, she'll be on it. 100%.
You know what's really surprising about this list? And Bruce is gonna flip his shit right now. Courtney Vandersloot, number 21.
Woo!
Bruce is like start throwing shit in his house right now. What? I mean, it's the players. Ryan Howard, I forgot, played for Atlanta. She played at the University of Kentucky. She's 16. Aaliyah Boston, Indiana. She's 14.
Okay.
I think I'll put her a little bit lower. Skylar Diggins didn't play in 2023, so how is she so high on the list? She's 13 when she didn't play all season. Some of this list is name recognition. Like they didn't try to dig deep. Like Jewel Lloyd is not a household name in women's basketball, so they didn't put her in that top rarefied air of like 3. But she should really be higher than 3. So like every ESPN list, it sucks. They made hell of mistakes and they won't admit to it, but that's the list. That's your top 2. Vandersloot 21. Who knew? I want to talk about college basketball because hella early, but we gotta talk about it anyway.
Mhm.
Kadari Richmond, Seton Hall guard, goes in transfer portal, and instead of staying at Seton Hall, who just won the NIT, he goes to St. John's to play for Pitino. One, how dumb was this move for Kadari Richmond? And two, Seton Hall versus St. John's. Are we getting that rivalry back now? Are we getting that?
And well, I think this definitely is the spark. Wow,
I don't understand. I don't understand
that move. Unless just say you want to play the Garden. Unless that's the reason you want to be the man of the Garden. That's the only reason I can see to make that lateral move. It doesn't make sense to leave to go from Seton Hall, which I trust their trajectory a lot more than I'll trust anything with Rick Pitino, unless Pitino promised you something, promised you Knicks tickets, your own locker at the Garden, your own entrance. I don't see you make that move. It doesn't make sense. I would trust everything that Seton Hall's trying to build over what Pitino's trying to do in St. John's. Because Pitino doesn't know what he's doing at St. John's.
It is Pitino. He might have offered him a hooker. Just saying. Total possibility. That could have been a thing.
He probably offered him a backdoor stage, whatever, access to J. Cole.
He said backdoor. I went straight to stripper. I'm like, wait.
He might have promised him some J. Cole. I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah, and then you go from Big East to Big. Usually, if you transfer from Big East, you usually go a step up, like Big 12,
right.
ACC. You just go Big East to Big East. So it's like you had to get all their NIL program at St. John's must be massive to go from Seton Hall to St. John's because because you're essentially it's a lateral move. Like
literally laterally. You're literally crossing some river to get to the other spot.
You're literally driving an hour to get to see. You're not going to Kansas. You're not going to USC. You're literally crossing the GWB to go play at St. John's. I don't understand it. The transfer portal itself, I think they want to change it up. And I know I talk about it. I just yell from a cloud constantly about it. And I was sure it's 2,000 players put their name in the transfer portal after the season was over. Is there something wrong with that? I was all for if coaches can leave, players can leave, but I feel like it's too much now. 2,000 players are like switching or trying to switch schools. Some of them just can't leave.
Yeah, can't leave.
Does it just seem like it's way too much happening?
It does, and it's happening so early now. We're not even getting to the summer. We're doing this all now. It does seem a little ingenuous.
And you're sitting here like, all right, so wait, they went there. Okay, they went there. They went there. They went there. You lose track of who's going where. I know the Rutgers center, Cliff. He went to, I want to say Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
I think Arkansas. I want to double check that. But it's like, oh wait, sorry. Knicks rule out OG for Game 3, so he's out for Game 3.
Yeah, I think they're trying to rest him Game 4 as possible. It depends with the series. I think we won't see him until Game 5, if we see him again in the series.
Alec Burksburg brings the A game. That's all I'm saying. Alec Burksburg bring that shit. Right now, live, we're at Game 2 in the Boston-Cleveland series, and surprisingly enough, 2:48 left in the third quarter. Cleveland 82, Boston 72. So maybe we need to start giving a shit about this series after all. maybe we're too quick to shit on this thing. So Cleveland up by 11 in the third quarter at Boston. So we'll see what happens with that as well. Last segment of the show. I missed AEW last night, but they set up a Anarchy in the Arena match. I love that match. Just the Elite versus Bryan Danielson, Eddie Kingston, and FTR.
Okay.
I'm of the mind, before Bruce jumps on me, I think this angle might actually help them out a lot. Because now you have an actual story that can go months and months and months and months and months. That'll be interesting to see. Thoughts?
So you don't see anybody turning on Team AEW?
No. I see the Elite getting a new member at some point in that match. and it becoming a little bigger. But I don't see them turning. I definitely see AEW losing the match.
What if that new member is MJF?
Oh wait, of the Elite? No way. I can't see that. I thought MJF would lead AEW and be like the face. Because they need a strong baby face, and I think MJF will be that guy.
Really? Okay.
I
do like the story. I do like the storyline angle because they definitely that's what they're lacking. They're lacking good storylines. Wrestling is top notch quality, but storylines where they need to work, and this is a good one.
Oh, actually, you know what's funny? We're talking all this basketball. Now we're talking wrestling. I forgot one thing. Jokic won the MVP. We didn't talk about Jokic winning his third MVP.
I think, and from what I gathered from social media, a lot of people were pissed off about it. They feel like it should have went to either Gilchrist or even maybe give Brunson a little consideration. But the fact that they went to Jokic so convincingly was a little disappointing.
Well, here's my question. Do you think that was I don't want to say a makeup MVP for last year? Because Jokic should have won. And I know we don't want to do it three years running. Mm-hmm. But it seemed like Jokic should have won it last year. And Embiid only won it. Embiid had a good season last year. I don't want to shit on what Embiid did. Mm-hmm. But I really feel like this was not so much him winning it, but how he won it. It was overwhelmingly Jokic. Yeah. This felt like a payback. Like, we should have given it to you last year. We owe you this one because we messed up not giving it to you because we're assholes and couldn't do 3 in a row. That's how I felt about this one.
100%. But I feel like, their track record, because of the track record, that's why they gave it to him. And this, out of all 3 of them, I would say this is probably the worst season he had, statistically wise. So it's like, was his worst season better than the other guys in contention's better season than that? That's why I would say no. And done to finish with the best record in the West. That should have amounted to something. Yeah.
So the voting essentially it was landslide. 79 first place votes went to Jokic, 15 to SGA, 4 for Luka Doncic, 1 for Giannis. Don't know how he got 1 first place vote. Brunson got his
brother voted for him.
Brunson got 3 second place votes, 1 third place vote, 28 fourth place votes, and 32 fifth place votes. So Brunson wasn't even in consideration. Let's just kind of keep it 100. Kevin Durant got 1 fifth place vote, and Domantas Sabonis got a vote.
Why? was that voter just like check any box? Like what was that about?
Yeah, Tatum got a couple.
Unless they mistook him for Jokic.
Big, tall European white guy. Let's give it to him. Wrong guy. Mm-hmm. Oh well, it's over now.
It's over now. Yep.
So Bruce already. If OG hurt now, let's see how Brunson performs. He's gonna drop 40, Bruce. That's how he's gonna perform again.
It's crazy that if he played in the second quarter, he would have dropped another 40 game. Like, it was literally because he sat out a quarter. That's why the streak ended at 4.
And here's the thing, though. I feel like Indiana, more than Philly, figured out how not so much to stop Brunson, but how to contain him a little bit. And they went away from it.
But by even doing that, like going away from it, it frees up DiVincenzo, it frees up Hart, it frees up the other guys. Now it's going to free up Burke. So they got to pick their poison.
I'm just curious about Alec Burks because he's just looked like shit since he came back.
Don't you worry. I'm pretty sure Tibbs gave him the pep talk today.
Don't fuck this up. Don't fuck this up. I can see Tibbs yelling at him.
I got you back for a reason, man. I brought you back here for a reason. You want to go back to Detroit? You want to go back to the D? Yeah.
Bruce playing in the storyline. Pacers versus the Knicks and the refs and the NBA.
Well, the Pacers are home, so they're going to get they're home. Let's see what kind of calls they get.
Well, yeah, because Carlisle was like, well, the crowd was hostile, so the refs didn't want to make. I'm like, shut up! Like, come on! Like,
I guarantee you, there'll be a Knicks contingency out there.
Oh, it'll be just like in Philly, and probably won't be as much because Philly was just a drive. This is like a flight.
Yeah,
but I did tell my dad, who's watching right now, if the Knicks get to the NBA Finals, we will go to one game.
Oh, wow.
I will put out for that game. The credit card I just paid off, I will put money back on that shit, and we'll go to one of the NBA Finals games. So that's what my dad is hoping right now. My dad is hoping they get to the finals so we can go to one game. But
at this pace, with this roster, they better hope it's Cleveland in the conference finals. That's all I got to say about that.
The way Cleveland's playing tonight, and I just shit on Cleveland a half hour ago. I'm like, maybe this Boston series might be more competitive. When we're done here, I'm going to watch the rest of the game. I'm like, okay, maybe I misjudged it. You know, maybe Mobley and Jared Allen figured out how to play together, and they're Ralph Sampson and Hakeem Olajuwon in the middle all of a sudden, and now they figured it out. That'd be crazy. Jason, is always a great show, bro.
Likewise.
So we will be back next Thursday. Emergency podcast as necessary. If something crazy happens, if the Knicks ends the series on Sunday, we'll be on Sunday. If not,
oh my goodness, imagine that.
That would be if it's a 4-game sweep. I would love that. So if that happens, we'll be back. If not, we'll see you next Thursday night here on the One Podcast Network. We're working on some stuff. Try to get more stuff on this podcast, on this YouTube channel, because I feel like it's just us right now holding it down, and we need some more content. So anyone who's watching, if you have any ideas, let us know. Let us know. We'll get you a show. We're open. We're open for business.
Let's do it. Let's
get it. For Jason, I'm Kahlil. Thanks so much for watching, listening. We'll see you next Thursday night or Sunday, maybe, here on the Box Out. Peace.
Peace.
This has been The Box Out with Kahlil Thomas and Jason Cordner. Subscribe now for the best tri-state area basketball talk.